Okay. All right, guys. Let's go. Let's get going. So, okay. So we left off yesterday talking about the educational system. Where were schools more likely to be found? In the north, in the New England. Why?
Because they're closer together.
People were closer together. Okay, and so schools could happen because the students lived closer together, and transportation wasn't. I mean, it was horseback or walking, right? So people in the north were more likely to be educated than people in the south. In the south, if you wanted to be educated, you had to come from a wealthy family that could afford a private tutor, or yeah. So if you came from a poor family, you just weren't educated in the south. Okay. Yes, you could have been possibly homeschooled, but that would require your parents to have learned at some point. And if they were poor, you know, it kind of it feeds into the cycle. Here. Okay, so in the 1730s and 40s, we had the first Great Awakening. Ah, why are you doing that? That's not what I want. Sorry, guys. Okay, looks like, guys, we're not talking about seafood right now. We're,
I asked what's for lunch. They said,
why?
so then I said,
But lunch is 40 minutes from now. Yeah, well, the faster. Okay, guys, the faster we get through these slides, then you can start talking about lunch.
Oh, come on, let's get through these slides.
Okay, so let's go through this. So we had this Great Awakening. What does that sound like to you? I can't write on this. For some reason, my pen's not working. But three. Okay, what does the Great Awakening sound like to you?
Maybe
Okay, so guys.
Industrial revolution, like awakening of knowledge or something.
Okay, it could be an awakening of knowledge, right? When people become awake, how do they change their status? It's not a trick question.
They're not passive anymore. They're more active.
Okay, well, no, I'm not talking figuratively. Like, just literally. They're up. When people become awake, they were in a state of sleep. Yes? Are they more active? Okay, David, this is not a maybe one. Okay, if you awaken, you are more active than you were before. There's no maybe in that. Like, there's not a situation in which you awake and you become less active than you were. Are you still, what was the status of you before you were awake? You were asleep. You were not moving. You were not active. It doesn't matter if you awake and you are tired, you're still more active than you were. Okay, there's no maybe on this. Okay, so the first Great Awakening is this religious movement. Okay, it's the idea that we are going to refocus on religion. We've moved away from religion. Now we're going to focus back on it. This is similar. It's a similar movement to Martin Luther and his 95 Theses, right? Which broke away from the Catholic Church. Okay, started the Protestant Reformation. This is kind of the Great Awakening. We'll go through another one, like another about around 100 years later from this point. Yes. Yeah, sorry, that was a typo. It inspired. Okay. So, there. right? But what the Great Awakening did, essentially, it caused people to focus less on church religions, or sorry, not church religions, sorry, church traditions. It caused people to focus less on church traditions and more on your individual faith. That sounds like a positive change, yes? Because when you do something out of tradition, what tends to happen? Okay, it's habit, and when something's habit, do you think about what you're doing as you're doing it? Not if it's a habit and out of tradition, like it's just, you kind of go with it, right? But if you focus on your personal faith and the relationship between you and God, are you being more, what's the word I'm looking for? Decisive or more intentional with your faith when you focus on your individual relationship with God? Are you going to be more intentional? Yeah. And so this is kind of the Great Awakening. Okay. And among this Great Awakening, it kind of translated into the political feelings as well, looking at independence, personal independence, rather than an individualism, rather than the collective going with the flow. Right. Yeah. Okay. And then we have another social movement going on. This is called the Enlightenment. Okay, if the Great Awakening is a religious revival, the Enlightenment is what, Chris? Sorry. Okay, if the Great Awakening is a religious revival, what do you think the Enlightenment is? It's not religious, but what do you think the Enlightenment's going to focus on? What? No, what did you just say? Okay, so what do we do in college?
I said colony.
Huh? Colony. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so what's the Enlightenment? What is it going to focus on? Great Awakening. What did you? Learning, knowledge, scientific study. Okay. Benjamin Franklin was a student of the Enlightenment. What are some things that Benjamin Franklin came up with? Okay. Okay, lightning rod. Yes. He did discover, he didn't discover electricity.
He discovered that there was electricity and lightning.
He discovered that lightning was made of electricity. That was the whole kite and the key thing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What else did Benjamin Franklin discover? Let's see, anybody? Okay. No, he was never a president. Benjamin Franklin was never a president. Even though he is on our what bill? $100 bill. Okay. That's Franklin. That's why they say, like, they write songs. It's all about the Benjamins. Talking about the Benjamin Franklins, right? Because Benjamin Franklin's on the 100. Okay. Chris Brown, you're wearing something that Benjamin Franklin helped design. Glasses, but specifically bifocals. And I don't think that yours are bifocals, right? No. So a bifocal, maybe your parents or grandparents. Okay, no. Parents or grandparents may wear these. They're the ones that have one set of lenses above for seeing distance, helping you to see distance, and another set of lenses below to see, yeah, to read.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, my grandma
Those are-
has those.
Those are bifocals. Okay, bi means what? Two. Bicycle, bifocal. Okay, two. And focal, what does that sound like? Focal.
Like they
Focal.
have a little line set
F-O-C.
right
Huh?
They have a little line
Guys,
set
wait.
right
Okay. What's another word that sounds like focal? F-O-C-A-L.
Vocal.
What? Focus. What do your eyes do when you are looking at something? They focus on it, on that object, right? So bifocal, two focuses, okay? Looking at distance and looking close up. Benjamin Franklin helped that. And this was all part of his, like he was a student of the Enlightenment, focusing on scientific advancement and invention, okay? As a result of this focus, this brought forth new ways of manufacturing. And really, do you think it helped the North or the South more?
I'll say the North because of, wait, no.
Well,
No, the Enlightenment would help the South because they don't have any schools.
okay.
Because they already have the education of their and the kids are probably influenced by the Enlightenment.
Okay. And if there were advances in technology, who is that going to help out more?
The North.
The North, the manufacturing, right? Okay. Yeah. Okay. And so all these things, the easier manufacturing, and this kind of spurred on the idea of more personal freedom, governing oneself in the colonies. Okay. And so when later on, when the British government tries to impose certain things on the colonies, this is the viewpoint that the colonies have to kind of buck that trend there. Okay. So here, and Janica, you have your book out, right? Okay. Do you see where this quote is? The loss of liberty? Go ahead and read that quote for us.
The loss of liberty in general would seem caused so perhaps it is the best preservative of the whole.
Okay. So what is the press? The news. The newspaper, all right? How many branches do we have in our government? Three. We have three branches. Legislative, executive, judicial. Yeah, legislative, executive, and judicial. Okay. Oftentimes, the press is considered kind of an additional branch that's not controlled by the government, but it's something that's necessary for our government to function. Okay, because if we did not have an independent press and our politicians did something bad, who's going to call them out on it? Yeah, nobody would know about it. Okay, and or if the politicians controlled the press, would they only show favorable stories?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And in dictatorship, in countries that are dictatorships and have authoritarians, you do see that where the press prints only what the politician in charge wants them to print. How many of y'all have heard of Vladimir Putin? Okay. Vladimir Putin.
He's I'm pretty sure one of the he's like the president or something of Russia.
Vladimir Putin is the president of Russia. Huh? No, he's more likely to poison than to get poisoned.
What was the dude that got poisoned on the plane?
I'm not sure. So Russia has poisoned a lot of people. Okay. But Vladimir Putin was former KGB. What is KGB? Anybody?
Former Korean.
No. It is Russia's version of the CIA.
Oh my.
So it's a spy. It's a spy deal. Okay. So Vladimir Putin will consistently win re-election like 95% of the vote.
Nice.
Do y'all think something fishy goes on if a politician wins 95% of the vote?
Definitely.
If a politician wins 95% of the vote, do you think something fishy is going on? Yeah. Yeah. Huh? It's unlikely for a politician to to have 95% of the people agree with him. It's not impossible, but it's unlikely. Let's look at okay, so in the history of the United States, the only politician that's come close to winning 95%, George Washington. And he ran unopposed his first term. So like that's kind of a once in a country type deal. Okay. He didn't even win 95% of the vote his second term. Okay.
What do you think? Usually
I'd have to
somewhere
look.
around 50-50.
Yeah, it's rather
Maybe
close.
like a
But
few
but in
percent,
countries,
decimal percent.
guys, in countries that are dictatorships or authoritarians, you have the politicians controlling the press. So here we are seeing at the beginning, as a colony, that we are recognizing the value of an independent press. And do you think that's a reason that we put it in our First Amendment? Well, not just, okay, so the First Amendment has 5 freedoms in it. Okay, freedom of speech is one. Wait, religion? No, that's second. Speech, religion? Nope.
Freedom of press.
To protest the government,
To form a,
assembly,
yes,
okay, and
freedom of press.
press.
Yeah, I already said that.
Okay, all right. So the 5 freedoms in our First Amendment to our Constitution are religion, speech, freedom to protest the government, freedom to assemble, and freedom of the press. We want to have an independent press here. Okay, and so we're seeing in these colonies that freedom of the press, they're recognizing it as an important aspect. And so later on, when the British government tries to jail publishers of newspapers for writing unfavorable stories, think that's going to be a problem? Yeah. Huh? No, libertarian just means that government shouldn't be involved in, they don't view government having a role in much of anything. That
So
a
more
libertarian,
power to the people.
a libertarian view says that the only thing government should do is provide for the national defense, so an army, and not much else, right?
The Army, the Navy,
So
whatever, all the lines of national defense.
yeah, so you have other views like providing social safety nets. Huh? No, even libertarians believe that there should be a president, because who else are you going to have to control the military? Okay, you need
But-
someone to be able to act quickly,
What?
and
what,
Congress has to vote on everything, so they're not going to act quickly. Yes,
So
Michael.
so libertarians, like, what would you call like what are Democrat and Republican missions? Like, what are their missions? What do you
Well,
call
not
more
all.
power to the people
okay.
a mission?
So not all Democrats and not all Republicans are the same. Okay.
Yeah.
First off, you're going to have, so in general, Democrats want a little bit more social safety nets, protecting Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security.
Yeah.
And when it comes to Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security, Republicans tend to want to privatize those.
So like leave it to the people, maybe.
Well, so essentially what that would mean is that, like with Social Security, when you turn 67, you've been paying into the system your entire life, your entire working life. And when you turn 67, there's a guarantee that you're going to get paid each
That much
month,
money.
a certain amount of money
Like
each-
until you're out of.
until you're dead.
Or so
Until
not
you're dead.
until you're out of money and you're still.
No, until you're dead.
Okay.
Okay, that's the social safety
Like,
net.
let's say you put at least $100,000 into your social.
You may get more than $100,000 out. Okay,
For a month?
no, not a month. Like
Like, how much would you get a month? if
it
you got
depends. It
100,000?
depends on the individual, but they're going to pay until you die.
Okay.
The privatizing Social Security would be, hey, Mikey, we're going to like you put this money aside, but you choose how to invest it, and hopefully you make the right calls. But if you make the right calls,
Give
you'll
you
have
all
enough.
the way and
Wait.
then-
Like if you make the right calls, you'll have enough money in retirement. But if you don't make the right calls in investing it, and you run out of money, too bad. All right. So one of them's like social safety net. The others, the responsibility is all on you. Okay. And there are a lot of other things, but we won't. We're not going to cover that. Okay. So civic virtue, some of the things that we really focused that came out of this was the idea of religious freedom. That came out of the Great Awakening. That people should have they shouldn't be dictated to or told by the government how they can worship or how they can assemble. And then your book goes through and lists a couple others. I can't think of them right off the top of my head. I'll have to go back to the text. But freedom of the press was a huge one. Petition the government and self-rule. These are all big things. Now, when they start to get violated by the British, we start to have questions as to whether we want to continue to be a part of the British. Okay. All right, guys. So we have finished. Next up, after our quiz tomorrow, we'll go into chapter 4, a rivalry in North America, which we're going to be talking about the French and Indian War. Okay. Yes, what is your question?